Stand Tall, Chapter 2.
Tree sat at the computer in his father's dining room, typed in heymom.com. Up on the screen came a smiling face of his mother. A bouncing bird flittered across a cloud that read, "Thought for the day." The cloud morphed into, "Divorce ended our marriage, but our loving family will never end." This was a big theme that Tree's parents were trying to get across. A little Christmas tree appeared on the screen. An elf was underneath it. 19 days till Christmas appeared over the tree. "I can't wait." The elf giggled. Tree sighed. This would be the first Christmas since the divorce. The computer screen flickered. Up popped his mother's schedule. She was in Boston for 3 days, teaching computer steamers, but she was reachable by beeper, cell phone, and email for anything he needed. He pictured his mother beeping, ringing, and whirling all at once. Remembered all the hours she put in when he was going to school to be a computer whiz. She'd sit at this mansion working late into the night. Went from teaching aerobotics to running computer steamers in 3.5 years. Once his mom got interested in something, she'd learn everything about it that she could. She'd done that with divorce too. A letter from his mother appeared on the screen. It said, "Dear Curtis, Larry, and Tree." It began. Curtis and Larry were his big brothers, both away at college. "I've been collecting thoughts about Christmas. I'd like us to talk about our feelings in the midst of so much changing." Tree didn't like talking about his feelings. A wrath came up on the screen. Then the words changed. "Change is part of life. It is the healthy family that learns to adapt to change, that prepares each member for our ever-changing, complex world." And here the first question we can discuss. How are we at all feeling this Christmas season? In the response session was a 3-word reply from Larry, a freshman at Penn State. "I've got gas," Larry wrote. Tree started laughing. He could see his mother's smile getting tight when she read that. "Very funny," she replied. Humorous is one of the ways to defuse feelings of alienation and frustration at the holidays. Then up on the screen was a response from his brother, Curtis, a sophomore at the University of New Hampshire. I've got more gas than you. Tree really laughed now. He knew his mom was trying to reach out, but how did it sometimes was hard. His mother wrote, "It's certainly nice you're learning such content ways of communication at college. It's certainly nice that you've both you brother to respond at all." Tree tried to think of what he could write back. He ate some barbecue potato chips. Burped twice. Maybe I've got more gas than anybody. Tree really broke up at this and wished his best friends Sully Devo was here. Sully had the best laugh of anyone. Tree knew Sully would laugh so hard he'd fall off a chair and say, "You're killing me. You're killing me." Then he pulled himself together, sit down, and started cracking up all over again. He clicked on the deck, the halls, began to play in the computer generator, musical way. He shut the computer down, watched his mother herself disappear from the screen. Online quietly times, she called it. He looked at the empty wall where the big hutch used to be. His mother had taken it when she moved out. The shadows of where it had been remained. His dad said they were going to get a new hutch, but they hadn't yet. His dad said they were going to repaint the downstairs to the darkened places on the walls where the pictures had hung. The ones his mother took when she moved out would be gone. They hadn't done that either. Divorce casts so many shadows. Tree and his brothers had helped her move out. Their old dog, Ridley, kept going up to Tree's mother to try to climb in the U-Haul truck, but Tree's father dragged him back into the house. Tree's grandpa spoke for everyone. "My God, Jane, I'm going to miss you like crazy." It was like a satisfying movie where someone is there 1 minute, then the next, poof. I forgot his name again. Hold on. Curtis said he'd seen the breakup coming. Larry knew Mom was going to leave. Dad too. Tree sure hadn't. It was like watching floodwaters burst through a dam. He'd always expected it to hold. Tree tried to understand how the parents went from seeming okay, but kind of bored and crabby, to living in different houses. They'd waited to get divorced until Larry had gone to college. Why hadn't they waited for Tree to go, too? He stretched his long legs out. His muscles were sore, which meant he was growing more. He wondered when he'd stop. He'd been wondering that for years. In the first grade, when he sat in a stool for the class picture, while the other kids stood around him. In second grade, when Miss Crossgrove had to add another panel to How Tall I Am poster just for him. In third grade, when he got stuck in a desk at Miss Cosgrove had to pry him out. In fourth grade, when he played a kind tree in school play, and no one had to sit in his shoulders to be the branches. In fifth grade, when he was Frankenstein at Woman's Sister so bad he peed in her pants. In sixth grade, when he was taller than his teachers and principal. And this year, seventh grade, when he just sat in the back at the table because he was too big for the desk. The back table wasn't so bad. Riley paid over but his paw in Tree's hand. Riley understood when people needed comfort. The older and slower Riley got, the more he seemed to know Good Dog. Tree scratched Riley's head, massaged his neck like the vet showed him. We've got to practice your trick. Tree walked into the kitchen. Riley followed. Tree got out a large dog biscuit from the canister. Riley sat. Good Dog. Tree got the picture he'd drawn of a sitting dog. Balancing a biscuit on his nose. He showed it to Riley, who looked at it. Tree had invested his method of dog training. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Ready? Tree balanced the biscuit on Riley's nose, put his hand out in and stayed command. Riley sat still, balancing it, as Tree timed him with his watch. People think you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but an old dog is going to pay attention when you're doing something serious. After 45 seconds, the biscuit dropped. Bailey ate it. Good Dog. He made Riley his dinner, put it on the floor. He made two serious submarine sandwiches with extra meat and cheese. Put them in a bag. A car horn outside. That's my ride. Riley, I've got to go see Grandma. Riley looked up, wagged his tail. Seeing Grandma was the best part of the week for just about anybody. And that's the end of chapter 2.